Hi, I'm Mal, and this is Miniature Warriors. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today's video sees us pushing on with our Longstreet campaign. It's the second battle in our Antietam series and is focused on the northern end of the field with Hooker's First Corps attacking elements of Jackson's Corps. Anyway, I hope you enjoy.
After the skirmish in the woods the previous evening, General Hooker has withdrawn Davis's brigade as the rebels push forward Colonel Gray's and Sheaf's brigades. General Meade, commanding Hooker's 3rd Division, launches Baker and Boldman's brigades to drive the Confederates backwards. Here we see Gray's brigade drawn up, behind the Millar's Cornfield, after having retired after the previous night's skirmish. They have thrown up some hasty works, behind which the 34th Virginia stands. The 2nd Alabama Cavalry Battalion are drawn up in supported line, covering the left flank of the adjacent brigade and the rear of the 1st Georgia Cavalry, who are deployed far forward in the east woods. Colonel Sheaf's brigade is defending the Confederate right with his infantry lining the Sunken Road and his cavalry in depth. Sheaf's far right is anchored by the 4th Texas Infantry. A sunken road runs across Sheaf brigade's front, providing a ready-made defensive work. On the far side of the field, Brigadier Boldman's brigade forms the Union left and is drawn up in supported lines ready to assault. To Boldman's right, Brigadier Baker's New Yorkers are poised to enter the cornfield. Both Federal brigades have their artillery deployed towards the center of the field. Just as the battle opened, Colonel Gray's horse stumbled and threw the unfortunate officer heavily to the ground. Being unable to remount, he was carried to the rear, and Colonel Brinkwater, from General Jackson's headquarters, took command of the brigade. Just as the Union drummers started beating the advance, Colonel Sheaf pushes the 4th Texas forward, extending his line in the Sunken Road. Boldman's 20th Maine and 2nd Vermont stepped off, angling their assault for the center of the rebel position. Baker's brigade, with the veteran 20th New York in the lead, pushes their way into the Millar Cornfield. In response, Brinkwater orders the 2nd Alabama Cavalry Battalion forward to the southern edge of the field. Sheaf's brigade artillery, the Galveston Light Battery, commence lobbing shells at the 20th Maine as they cross the open ground in front of the Sunken Road. The fight on this part of the field quickly degenerates into exchanges of massed short-range musketry. Boldman, sensing a possibility that the Sunken Road is where the battle will be decided, shifts the 12th New York Infantry from his right towards the Sunken Road. Meanwhile, in the east woods, Brinkwater's 1st Georgia Cavalry remains a threat to both Baker and Boldman's brigades, and Boldman sends forward the 2nd Rhode Island. On the southern side of the wood, as the fight for the Sunken Lane rages, Sheaf maneuvers the 5th Texas Cavalry Battalion, covering his battery, covering the rear of both his battery and the 1st Florida. Further west, Baker's regiments push through the corn, forcing the 2nd Alabama Cavalry to retire back onto the rebel main line. As this occurred, the Confederates opened fire, pouring volley after volley into the lead Federal regiments. The Union regiments held their ground and commenced returning mini ball for mini ball. Major Peterson, commanding the 1st Georgia Cavalry, now wheeled his troops to their left, and his dismounted cavalry troopers started skirmishing against the Yankee flank in the cornfield. Brigadier Baker, engaged to both his front, where a deadly firefight was developing, and the rebels starting to flank his position, starts to face his flanking regiment, the 18th New York, to its left. Boldman's 2nd Rhode Island positions itself to the left of the 20th Maine, and both regiments steady themselves as they prepare to assault the Sunken Road. Sheaf orders the 5th Texas Cavalry forward just as the 1st New Jersey emerges from the cornfield and delivers volleys into the 5th Texas's flank. With a deafening crescendo of drums, the 20th Maine and 2nd Rhode Island Infantry swept forward, hurtling themselves into the 1st Texas Infantry, defending the Sunken Road. The rebel infantry, outnumbered and unable to stem the momentum of the Federal charge, withdrew but rallied 100 yards to the rear and formed a new firing line. Rush's lancers advanced beyond the Sunken Road, but found themselves taken in flank with canister that had horsed the nearest 3 or 4 files. As the Union assault through the Millar Cornfield had stalled, and sighting the 1st New Hampshire Battery unsupported, Major Peterson ordered the 1st Georgia Cavalry to remount, and with a blare of bugles ordered the charge on the isolated gunners. The melee with the artillerymen was short and sharp and saw the battery put out of action. With the Union assault either checked or repulsed, and Boldman's brigade having reached its shatter point, the battle ended with a Confederate victory. Backer's command on the Union right took relatively light casualties, although the veterans of the 20th New York suffered in Millar's Cornfield. Brigadier Backer's brigade has been expanded, with a 2nd battery of guns and another infantry regiment. For preserving his command on the field, Brigadier Backer was promoted to Major General. Brigadier Boldman's less experienced troops showed great talent in their assault of the Sunken Road. However, both the 20th Maine and the 2nd Rhode Island Infantry took very heavy casualties. The War Department has reinforced Boldman with 2 additional infantry regiments and a battery of guns. Brigadier Boldman was not promoted. Colonel Brinkwater's timely assumption of command of Gray's brigade, and his professional handling of the troops, was noticed by General Jackson. Jackson recommended Brinkwater's permanent command of the brigade and his promotion to brigadier with effect September 17, 1862. The brigade was reinforced with Cobb's Georgia Cavalry Battalion, and a 2nd battery of guns. Colonel Sheaf's brigade, that had repulsed Boldman's desperate assault on the Sunken Road, had taken moderate casualties and has been reinforced with a 2nd battery and the 2nd Florida Infantry. Colonel Sheaf was not promoted.
A Confederate victory. A very enjoyable and entertaining 4-player game of Longstreet. Anyway, you need to stay tuned for the final game in our Antietam series, which is the assault across the Burnside Bridge by elements of the 9th Corps. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the game today, and I'll see you again soon.